In this video, we need to go from text that contains numbers to just text. And we want to see how to do it with Flash Fill, Power Query, of course, formulas, and the new amazing let function. Here's our data in the alphanumeric column. And our goal is to get just the text and leave the numbers behind and put the text in this column. Now, Flash Fill is the easiest one amongst all the options. And if we type an example of what we want to the right, there it is, cool, enter, then go up to Data, Data Tools, Flash Fill, or use the keyboard Control E. That is quick and easy. Now, there's two drawbacks to Flash Fill. The first one is if anything changes here, this doesn't update. So if it's a one-time deal, Flash Fill is awesome. But here's the other problem. If I didn't choose a smart example with numbers in between text so that there was text before, in the middle, and after numbers, for example, I chose this one, Enter, Control E, well, that doesn't work. We gave Flash Fill an example that only had text in the middle with numbers before and after. So you have to pick either one good example or a few different examples before you invoke Flash Fill. So when it's a one-time event and you can decipher a consistent pattern and pick a correct example, Flash Fill is amazing. Now our next example, Power Query, as compared to other formulas we'll see, will be sort of the most amazing one because there's a single function called Text.Remove, which we can use to automatically remove all numbers. Now, when do we use Power Query? Well, if you like to just use one function, that's a good reason to use Power Query. But you do have to convert this to an Excel table, then go up to Data, Get and Transform, use the From table to bring it up into the editor, and then you load it back to the Excel spreadsheet. But of course, if you're importing your data in the first place and bringing it into Excel from an external source, then you want to use Power Query. Let's go over to Text for Power Query. This data has already been converted to an Excel table. So we go up to Data, Get and Transform, From Table. It opens up the Power Query window. Over here, that's the name of the query, and that's fine. Here's our data. Now we want to use that function, so we go to Add Column, Custom Column. Custom column is like a helper column in Excel. We give the column a new name, something like not number data. Now we're going to use Text.Remove, but the first thing we have to do is generate all of the text that we want to remove. Now in Power Query, instead of typing out 0 to 9, we can use list syntax. That's a curly bracket. Put our starting value, and then the dot operator, which means go from some starting point to some ending point. Now, right now, those are actual numbers. And since this is text and Power Query is data type sensitive, searching for a number, trying to find a text number won't work. So within this list syntax, we can either put a starting number or some starting text. And for us, it'll understand, hey, please go from 0 as a text number all the way to 9 as a text number. Then we type a close curly bracket. Now we'll click OK just to see what it delivers in our helper column. And there it is. That's the whole list of items that we're searching for within here that we want to remove. Now to edit this, we come over to the gear icon and click. And after the equal sign, we type our function Text.Remove, open parentheses. It wants the text. There's the column with the text item. So if I double click and put that in square brackets, it'll get the item in each row in that column. And then comma, that's the text we want to remove, close parentheses. And that formula right there, especially compared to the Excel worksheet formulas we'll do in a little bit, that is simply amazing. Click OK. And just like that, we have what we want. Now, maybe you want to keep this column. Maybe you don't. For the time being, I see it's added an extra step, but now I'm going to right-click that column and remove. I don't want that column. It added a step. Now I have everything I need. I go to Home, Close and Load Dropdown, Close and Load To. I'm going to say on this existing sheet, Right there, click OK. Now watch this. I'm going to cheat. I knew that I couldn't load it right there because it would push everything over. So I'm going to cut this, come over here, and load it right there, Control V. And so that's our Power Query solution. Now, Power Query, if the source data changes on that sheet, you can use the Data Refresh button. Now on to Excel Worksheet Formulas. And these are the only solutions that if our source data changes, they will update instantly. Now, this is going to involve an array formula because we have to extract each individual character and then look at it and ask, is it a number? So we first need to know the length. So we use len. That tells us how many characters are in each cell. So there's 7. Now I need to extract all 7 individual characters. And to do that, I need to generate the numbers 1 to 7. So we use a Microsoft 365 Excel function sequence. Rows, well, I want 7 rows. And the default is start at 1 with a step of 1. So when I close parentheses, there's my numbers 1 to 7. And I need to use that inside of the mid function. The text I want to extract, remember, we're trying to get each individual character, so that's 7 characters. There it is, comma. The starting number, well, I gave it an array of the numbers 1 to 7. So that means there's 7 different starting positions. Now I come to number of characters, and I say, hey, each time you do that, give me 1. Close parentheses. Now when I hit Enter, I've extracted all the characters. Now I'm going to do a math operation to convert text numbers to real numbers. But the more important thing is I want an error where there's text. So I'll use either +0, or when I'm doing array formulas, I tend to use double negative because it is a math operator and it calculates more quickly on array formulas. So now when I enter, I get my spilled array of errors, which is what I'm after, and numbers. F2. Now I can simply say, hey, are you an error using ISERROR? Close parentheses and enter. So there's an array of trues and falses that tell me each one of the characters and whether I want to extract it true or false. So F2. Now we're going to have to use that formula element again. And now we use another amazing Microsoft 365 function, filter. The array, those are the items I'm looking through and need to filter, comma. And there's in include the arrays of trues and falses. Close parentheses. And now when I spill this, I get cool. Now I need to join it, so I use CONCAT. And it simply will take whatever's there and join it with no delimiter. And that's our formula. Now I can copy this down, and just like that, it is working. If I type 5y, coolie. So that's our Microsoft 365 Excel solution. Uh-oh, old school solution. I don't know of a solution unless we have the old More Func Excel Add-in function, MCONCAT. And then we have this monstrosity here. Now, this is not going to work because the add-in that we used to use for MCONCAT doesn't work in later versions. Now, if anyone knows an old school formula to take those letters and concatenate them into a single cell, post in the comments below. Otherwise, it looks like Power Query is going to be an awesome option. Now, we saved the best Excel worksheet formula for last. We're going to use the let function. And here's the rule of when to use the let function. As we can see, we have a formula element right here. And guess what? It is repeated. Anytime you have a formula element that's repeated, it's going to be more efficient to use the let function. Now, the let function will allow us to define that formula element as a variable and use it over and over inside the formula. Now, I'm going to copy this Control-C, and over here equals the amazing let. And of course, this is only in Microsoft 365 Excel or later. Name 1, that's the name of our variable. We'll call it char, comma, Control-V, comma. The third argument allows us to create our formula using that variable. So we use filter. in the array. Now look at this. There's a new icon in the latest update in May 2020. That's the icon, a little X that means a variable. So tab, comma. And then what do we want to include? Well, we have to ask, is it an error? And do our double negative on char. Close, close. Now here's the crazy thing about let and these variables. If I evaluate this or directly the variable itself, F9, it's not going to let me look at it inside the formula. Now I don't know if that's a bug that they'll fix later, Control Z, but we can enter the formula, Control Enter, and see sure enough it's working. F2, now we put it not in MCONCAT, but CONCAT. So Microsoft copied that function from the old MCONCAT. Close parentheses, Control Enter. Now we can copy it down. And let's take a look up in Formulas, Formula Auditing, Evaluate Formula. And here we can step through. That underline means when I click Evaluate or Enter, it'll evaluate it and show us the result. Now notice as I hit Enter, it's evaluating the actual variable. So there we see the variable. Now watch. Underlined, the first argument of filter. When I hit Enter, it just goes and grabs the variable. Now it's looking inside of ISERROR, grabs the variable. Then it uses that variable and gives us our result. All right, so in this video, we saw how to use flash fill. We also saw problems with flash fill, Power Query, Microsoft 365 Excel. Uh-oh, old school. Oh, that means Power Query is going to be old school. And of course, the amazing let. Now, if you like that video, be sure to click that thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe, because there's always lots more videos to come from excelisfun. And if you want to learn more about these dynamic array formulas or the let function, check out these videos.